at, well, let's just say minus 40. Let's say minus 30. 40 is too much, right? So this means you're objectively, right? The objective metrics of your attraction are relatively lower than, the average person, Now, this also has, actually, not the other one, this one has the compounding effect. This is where most people don't understand attraction, right? And this is how most people don't understand, like, for example, what do I even say? If you are someone who looks, very average, or maybe perhaps, below average, and you have a partner who looks absolutely amazing and wonderful, right? When you walk down the street, they will say most shallow people will assume that you probably have a lot of money, right? But people who understand that, okay, maybe she doesn't have a lot of money, then, like, what does she see in him? That's the question, right? And you need to understand that that is the biggest compliment to you when the objective metric of attraction of your partner is far higher, so they have a far higher neutrality score than you do, because that means that the interpretative elements in relation to your imprint when it comes to you and your persona are very high, and the compounding effect is very high. So people will assume, because you match really well with your partner, that you have these interpretative traits that are relatively unseen on the face. But that is not true either. Right? So let me show you what happens here. Okay? Interpretation means this. If your face exemplifies, right? Let's just talking like radicals. Ugliness, right? Let's just be real. Let's say you're ugly, right? Or let's say you have like a perverted, filthy face. Or maybe you have a dishonest face. I want you to understand that if you have any of these contribute to this score. But what most people don't understand is what they need to exemplify for the compounding effect to take shape. So, right, if you have an ugly face, but you exemplify beauty and sophistication, beauty and sophistication in your expression, in the things that you create, in the way you talk, in the way you move, in the mannerisms that you have, in the ways you treat people, so on and so forth. This minus 30, because of the contrast that is created with it, this minus 30 becomes plus 30. Do you understand, my friends, what I'm trying to explain to you? It's a very simple truth, but once you understand it, trust me, there's complexity to it, but once you understand it, you'll really understand that you are only as attractive as you want to be. And that's it. That's the truth behind it, right? So if you exemplify beauty, right, in contrast to the ugliness that you have, you get easily like plus 50 points. Just from this, plus 80 points. If you have a weak aura, like if people assume you're a coward, you're weak, if you exemplify bravery and boldness, right? This, which was supposed to be your minus, right, is the very same reason the contrast, the compounding contrast is created, right? So this gives you plus 80 points or something like that, right? So the people who have more neutrality on their face, they don't have access to this kind of, oh wow, energy. They really don't. You understand? Because neutrality and the neutral is average. It is already through the imprint brought into a place of balance, where you have an imbalanced imprint, and you must balance that imprint out with the interpretative elements of your character, personality, and these things show. Then later, if you start exemplifying these things later on, they will show up on your face as what I call deviations. And these little deviations are basically like the movements of the musculature and the skin and so on and so forth on your face that distinctively inform other people of your state, of your inner state. So your face literally changes. Like your symmetry of your face doesn't change, but your energy completely shifts. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you could be, you know, a dirty, ugly hobo on the street, and no one will approach you because you don't exemplify cleanliness. You don't exemplify approachability. But you could be a relatively ugly, you know, a mysterious billionaire who lives in this castle on the hill, right? And all they do is spend their time, you know, I don't know, like inviting people to lavish parties and reading books to them, or like novels to them, or novels to their children, or whatever, while wearing a mask. Now that, even though that person is relatively ugly looking, the mystique, the mysteriousness of their contrast makes them 10 times, 20 times more attractive than your average attractive person. Now, I've already given you, several examples. If you don't understand it by now, I don't know what to tell you. But there's one last thing I will teach you about attraction, okay? And I could talk about this for hours, but this is just like the basic understanding of it, okay? There are two types of energies, and if you want to figure out what your energy type is, just buy a face reading session from me. It literally costs like $50, and it'll be worth it for you. But that's only if you can't figure it out on your own. I'll help you figure it out. But look, there's two types of energy, okay? One, it's a free-flowing energy. So if someone has, facial features, I can't even draw this, but I'll just say if someone has facial features that represent a free-flowing energy, they will need to enhance. So you will need to lean into your imprint, right? So if you have a strong imprint, you will have to lean into your imprint as much as possible and exemplify that. So the more neutrality you have on your face, right, the more you need to lean into the very small asymmetries or whatever you have to then augment and enhance those energies. But if you have a non-neutral imprint, then you need to lean into the interpretative elements, which is the opposite. You need to exemplify the opposite of your imprint. And this is what contributes to your attraction and to your attractiveness value. So it really, guys, at a certain point, it has nothing to do with what you were born with. You could be the most disgusting, wretched-looking person out there, and it will have nothing to do with your attraction. You could be the most neutral face. Sure, like let's put it that way. Like, usually models and like people who get out easy, they have a neutral imprint. They have a neutral imprint on their face. So other people will associate positive traits with them a lot more than they will with you. So let's say, you have a large hooked nose, right? That's an interpretive imprint. So basically people will associate with you, like you could be a liar, you could be this. But if you have a hooked nose and you're a Roman general, people will literally associate you with a god who has like this crazy level of testosterone, who's a natural born leader. Have you ever seen a person with only neutral features be in that position, be in that state? Because no, like the benefit of having a non-neutral face and a lot of interpretative contrast is that you can use the minus points to up yourself to these crazy heights where people with very neutral faces oftentimes cannot, right? So you have to understand what your energy is, and you have to really think about how to create a contrast between who you are, what kind of energy you were born with, and what kind of energy you want to exemplify. Again, look at the other examples. Filthy, dishonest. You have a dishonest face, don't lie, never lie. Be a source of protection and reliability and steadfastness and honesty for other people. Exemplify that. I have a dishonest face, I will exemplify honesty. And I will be the most attractive person in the room. Period. Period. Because the contrast is so strong. Do I have a relatively filthy disposition? Do people see it, they look at me, oh, this guy's a creep, this guy's a pervert? Exemplify morals and ethics and cleanliness and spiritual values. Exemplify that. And you will only be upgraded in the eyes of others. If you understand this concept, all you have to do now is to understand your imprint. All you have to do is understand what your face, and I would tell you this for free right now. I just can't, because like everyone's face is like very unique and different individual. But generally you can understand it, right? So if you can understand like the imprint of your face, if you can understand what energies you carry and what you need to exemplify, just exemplify that in authenticity, right? Because chances are, because you already have an asymmetrical imprint or a non-neutral imprint, you already have a deep desire to exemplify those interpretative elements. So when people look at you, and deep down everyone understands that each human being, is coming to this world with a specific mission, a specific set of lessons to learn, right? And if you have a dishonest face and you lean into being dishonest, a dishonest person, because that's what other people will program you to be like, keep in mind, that's what other people will project onto you. So it's difficult for you. If you keep leaning into being an actually dishonest person, of course no one will be attracted to you. Because what you're giving them confirmation of the bias that exists already on your face, my good friend. And when you give them confirmation of their biases, they will assume that you have learned nothing. When someone, like, let's do the Roman nose thing again, or a hook nose thing again, right? Usually people with a lot of intellect, with a lot of like well-developed like testosterone influence, like, potential for power, have hook noses. Now if I see you disempowered with a trait like that, I will say, holy hell, this person hasn't even awoken yet to the potential. They haven't done their homework. Why would I be? Would you be attracted to yourself if it was literally written on your face that this person hasn't done their homework? This person hasn't done work on themselves and their personality, their character, so on and so forth. So I'm gonna stop this video here because it's gone on for too long. This is how attraction works, okay? The quicker you understand this, the easier your life will be when it comes to practical things like in relation to other people, in relation to having positive interactions with other people, and really understanding your energy, right? And then influencing others according to how you're supposed to present yourself to them. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Follow my video, comment on my Twitter, and I don't know, you guys, DM me at Jack of Faces on Twitter if you have any questions, or just tag me or whatever. I'll try to answer, okay? And buy a face reading session if you want to know more. All right, bye bye.